The guards don't seem to be buying what you guys are saying. You see them coming in and starting to surround the four of you. One of them pulling out shackles. As I see shackles, I'm going to cast darkness. I'm going to quicken a dimension door and get Shade and I out of there. And as soon as I see the darkness, I'm going to grab Slayer and we're also out of there. No, guys, no, that's not what happens. You're being arrested. You've been arrested. You four are in jail now. That's what happened. Hi there, I'm Dr. Megan Connell, and this is Psychology at the Table. In this episode, we're going to be talking about player agency. Now, player agency is your player's ability to be able to control their character's reactions, actions, and how they interact and shape the world around them in a meaningful way. I think agency is one of the most important parts of tabletop role-playing games. To me, it's what really distinguishes a tabletop game from a video game. In video games, all of our courses of action have to be pre-programmed in. So no matter what we do, there's only a finite number of outcomes that can happen. In a tabletop game, we can do anything and anything can happen. So to me, agency is really important. I hate being in games that are like the example I was giving, where no matter what you do, it doesn't change anything. You end up feeling like, why am I even here? Why are you having me roll dice if no matter what I do, the story's going to continue on the way it is written on the page? So it's a hard thing for us, though, as DMs, because sometimes players do the unexpected. Often, players do the unexpected. We've all been there. We've built this beautiful world, this great town with these interesting locations, really fascinating NPCs with interesting background stories, and all our players want to do is to go explore the forest that we hadn't had time to build because we were creating all these NPCs for them to interact with. It's not up to us to steer them back onto the story. We, as Dungeon Masters, need to learn how to be adaptive and how to work with our players so that they can do the things that they want to do. Look, we're game masters. We are creators and destroyers of worlds, building of cultures, a little bit of a control freak, maybe. So learning how to let go, learning how to build a really intricate and in-depth world that we let our players change can be a difficult thing. One resource that I would really recommend for anybody working on this or struggling with this is Sly Flourish's Return of the Lazy Dungeon Master. It's a great book. It's filled with all kinds of amazing tips on how to run games, how to quickly build worlds and encounters, and how to not hold on to them so tightly that you're upset when your players change everything that you had built. It's a wealth of knowledge and definitely something I would recommend for you. A few things that I personally use to try and make sure that I'm accounting for player agency in my own games is I try to embrace the improvisational spirit of yes and or yes but. So this is where when somebody suggests something, we say yes, and then we change it just slightly. It's, can I do this? Well, yes, and so-and-so is going to go with you. Or, yes, but this person might see, and so there might be other consequences that you're not thinking of. Using yes and yes but are incredibly important, and it's a really good tool. I really try to focus on what's going on in my own head when I'm dungeon mastering and making sure I'm using yes and or yes but, especially if my brain's going, oh no, they thought of something I didn't account for. They figured out something I hadn't thought of, or they saw something I didn't realize, or they're using an ability I forgot they had. Look, our players are clever and they want to be clever and they want to have those successes. If they're being clever, if they're thinking of things you hadn't thought of, let them do it. Let them run with it. It's okay. Let the world change. Another really important thing I try to do is always to make dice rolls meaningful. I don't ever try to have players roll dice for no reason. If they are rolling dice, there has to be a chance that they're going to succeed. And if a success means the story changes in a vast way, that's what happens. I don't want them to roll dice if it's not going to have a meaningful impact on the world. The other thing I really work on is noticing when I fail to give my players agency. So noticing when I screw up, owning up to that and talking to the players and trying to course correct if possible. I do that because dungeon mastering is not easy, and I want people to understand that sometimes we mess up too, and also to let our players know, like, I realized I did something. And so that way we can work on building that trust and having that strong relationship between dungeon master and player. I hope that this was helpful to you guys. As we talk more about building encounters with emotions, having other gaming elements brought into the game, agency is something that is really at the heart of all of this, and making sure no matter what we're doing to create our games and to run our tables, that we're keeping that agency in mind. Anyway, I hope this was helpful for you, and as always, let's make space at the table for everyone.